Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And good morning. Welcome to Take My Advice. I'm not using a Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports radio station KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, and more. I made it. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So there's no gossip here, no scandal, and no K words, no Kanye, formerly known whatever. Instead, I want you to focus on your own reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I have topics and guests. If you missed any of my 1,003 shows, please go to my YouTube channel, free subscribe, and you'll get, we've had humanitarians on. I spotlighted Frederick from Rwanda, who got his hands cut off in the genocide yesterday, as well as Rick O'Berry from the Cove, dolphin activist, to beautiful celebrities, some here, some who have passed, like Don Wells, who became a really good friend, who's in that long introduction that goes on while the NBC News is playing on the other side. And you can get all of that for free on my free subscribe YouTube channel TV. And I also have special series, and I'm so delighted that today is the official beginning of my new co-host. Her name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate, and she is my co-host every Wednesday now on a special series called Doctors in the House. And let me give you a little bit of information on her. She is a U.S. Navy veteran, published author of more than one book, and a beautiful children's book that we talked about when I got to interview her, I guess a week ago, for our birthdays, or it's our birthday all month, but a retired OBGyn. She's from Compton, straight out of Compton, California. She's currently reinventing herself. She's kind of my twin, but black, in the sense that she has really no limits. She does all kinds of things. So lately she was a semi-finalist in the Carla Hall cooking competition. She feeds homeless. She is, now she's my co-host, and she is going to help me talk about whatever we want to talk about here in studio. So please welcome her first debut show, Dr. Tiffanie Tate. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Hey.
And we already have eyeballs rolling in. Thank you for tuning in. I am live streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook, and then my Show Central YouTube channel. And we even got a finger. Someone just gave us the finger.
Awesome.
Not that finger, but this finger.
Thumbs up.
Yeah. So let's start. I do breakfast with my co-host and or my guest. Today she's my co-host, which is, we're going to take a bite of my gratitude sandwich. What are 8 specific things that we're grateful for? We'll do it ping pong tag team, 1 word per gratitude. And then we go to the bottom of the bun, which is things that we like about ourselves. You ready? Here we go. I am grateful for the sunshine.
I am grateful for friendship.
I am grateful for the gym below.
I am grateful for happiness.
I'm grateful for the pool cleaner.
I am grateful for my dog.
I am grateful for makeup.
I am grateful for food.
I am grateful for technology.
And I am grateful for the ability to cook that food.
Yeah. So that's a record, I think, as far as gratitudes. That's awesome. Now we're going to go to the bottom of the bun, which is something we're going to model for you because I want you to do it before you go to bed. Instead of thinking about all the things we didn't have done or who done me wrong, which does take away from your sleep, or worse, doing this, which is meaningless scrolling, MS. I want you to think about what you like about yourself. Why? Because it is the foundation of mental health. If you can't like and approve or care for yourself, you're going to be looking for love in all the wrong places with antenna up. Who likes me? Who thinks I'm good? And, people are not on this earth to approve of you. You have to approve of yourself to have that balance. So that's my BS, my belief system. I know Tiffanie agrees with me already on that one. So let's do what we like about ourselves. Let's do one word again so we can whip through this, not whip you, but whip through this. And I will start. I like funny.
Determination.
Elegant.
Forgiveness. My ability to forgive people.
Multitasker.
Ability to love.
Limitless.
And ability to give. I'm a giver.
Last one. Resourceful.
And the ability to cook.
Yes. And there we have it. That was Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and my new co-host for Wednesdays,
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
There you go. Doctor's in the house. And thank you for having breakfast with us. I promise if you do that for 28 consecutive days, your days will be wrapped in the most positive way. And it's probably one of the least expensive ways to improve your life. All right, here we go. Dr. Tiffanie, what are we talking about today?
Well, today we are going to talk about growth. And is it painful? Does it have to be painful? Because a lot of times when we experience growth, it is a process. And growth has lots of different dynamics to it. There's spiritual growth, there's physical growth, and there's emotional growth. And there's all these different capacities. You can think of it as an octopus because it has multiple arms to it.
Wonderful. Now, I think of that expression, no pain, no gain. And when I'm teaching Tai Chi, I actually don't prescribe to that. When it comes to physical workout, I know that when people exercise and they have to push themselves and so that leads to hurting yourself physically. I don't believe in no pain, no gain physically. However, emotionally, I have to say that because of life experience, because of that expression, the statistic that 7 out of 10 of us have had childhood trauma. So if it's the majority that have had pain in childhood, why do we think there's something wrong with us, right? We're the majority. So that made me start thinking about the role of pain in life. And it is now my BS belief system that pain is truly the necessary chiseling, right? That all pain in life is there for our divine and best good. And that's my BS, because you cannot grow without some level of discomfort and pain.
I agree, because I think that when it comes to growth, as individuals, we really need to do some introspection. And a lot of times people do not want to go for counseling. And there's a lot of denial. And we always say, denial is not just a river in Egypt. It's just something that we suffer through. And I think that that's the reason that there's such a high divorce rate, because people do not want to address their own personal problems and their own personal issues. So there ends up being this perpetual issue where people suffer in silence, whether they lash out, because it's the saying goes that hurt people hurt people. And until you start addressing those problems and go with the growth process, there are a lot of books out there that you can get, and you can start the self-help. But to truly grow, you really need to look within yourself. Other than that, you're going to end up with these problems where they keep going over and over and over again, whether they are financial issues where you end up saying, okay, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. I can't manage my money because I won't sit down and make out a budget. Or if you're having emotional issues, okay, I'm suffering from depression and I don't want to talk to somebody. Or whether they are spiritual issues because you're having a crisis of faith, or you don't want to accept that there's something bigger than yourself. So, or you're having, food to mouth issues, you're suffering with problems with your weight. So when it comes to growth, it can be a physical problem. Some people don't like the gym. Sometimes I don't want to go to the gym and I just want to stay at home. And I've had to deal with all of these problems. And I thought, okay, this is a good subject to deal with and talk to people about, because I've experienced all of these.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I do like to put the moose on the table. And that's my Canadian way of talking about the elephant in the room. And this is my new series on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It, Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. It is called Doctors in the House. And my new co-host is
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And just a disclaimer, we are both doctors. Dr. Tiffanie is an OBGYN, retired, MD. I am a PhD, not an MD, but I am a doctor. There's a fight between PhDs and MDs as who's the higher level doctor. Of course, PhDs are better. I'm just kidding. So my joke is BS is Bachelor of Science, right? Or bullshitaki. And then MS is Master of Science or more shiitake. And PhD is just piled higher and deeper. So that puts Tiffanie above. But when we are talking about all our topics, just to introduce, we're talking from our experience. We are not licensed, me on purpose, because I don't want to have those restrictions. I'm a happiness coach, law of attraction coach. Tiffany's been coaching people and instructing and teaching for a long time. But I just want to make that disclaimer. And I want to also say that there's so many ways to improve. You were talking about self-help, and I am a huge believer that I don't have the only way. Dr. Tiffanie doesn't have the only way, that there are so many ways in which you can find help, and you go to someone who gets you. And that's, I believe, is one of the roles of pain. If I've had childhood trauma of the kind in the family, then I can help someone better who's also had a similar experience. So that's another benefit of pain in life, because it allows us to be in a very unique situation to help other people. So my pain that helped me grow was, I'm going to get personal, and I'm going to ask Dr. Tiffanie as well to get a little personal, so we can identify those kinds of pain points that and qualify ourselves to be able to talk about this thing called growth through pain. no pain, no gain. So for me, being told I was fat, ugly, and clumsy my entire growing up and physically hurt led me to taking that pain and shoving it all the way down and saying, can't change the past, pull myself up out of the bootstraps and just go. But when I goed, I picked up coping mechanisms to deal with that pain by not dealing with it. Didn't talk about it, didn't acknowledge it until I started drinking. I was a happy drink till the third drink, and then I would be pissed and sad and blame and shame. And that was my cycle. That's how I coped with I didn't want to grow. I could not see how the pain was actually good for me until much later. So that's my story.
Mhm.
Go.
And so after I went through a phase where I had 6 surgeries in over 2 years. I ended up being medically retired, and I went into my depression. I was kind of verbally abused, and I went into my depression and I began to eat, and I became obese essentially through that depression. And because of that, I had a problem with my weight, and that was an issue for me. And I didn't want to get treatment. And eventually I sought therapy, and it took time for me to go and get that therapy. But I did not want to get mental health therapy that I needed, but I did. And it was a necessary thing that I needed to do because that helped me identify the cause and to seek the treatment I needed to get up out of the situation that was causing me to negatively affect my health. And it made a big difference in my health and how I was doing. And so sometimes you have to figure out what is the cause, what is the source, why am I doing this to myself? Because a lot of times we will self-sabotage, and we need to figure out the why. And if you can figure out the why, then you can treat everything else. Because a lot of times it's not just you doing something. There's a reason why you're doing that something. And if you can figure out the why and stop the why, things can start to get better. But we have
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And that's a great example of the extremes that people can go through when they have pain, right? So my pain was internalized and shoved down and ignored, or I tried. I thought I could ignore it. That's one extreme, not healthy, because you can never ignore, like, what you don't deal with will come back and deal with you, as I figured out. And then Dr. Tiffany's extreme was to, like, I call it marinating, right? You
Yes, you
jumped right in,
suffer, and then it spews everywhere.
right? So she swam in her stuff and I buried my stuff. Neither way of approaching it was particularly useful, right? I also went on that swing. I would think that I needed to achieve, right? So I worked really hard to get what I had, and no matter what I accomplished, I still inside felt like a piece of shiitake. And people would say, "Oh, you're so, is there anything you don't do? And you're so da da da." And I'd say, "Thank you." And then that voice, you're not all that.
Yeah, you
Right?
put on.
If people really knew you, they wouldn't think that, right? And then other days I would be like, yeah, I'm better than you. Look at all that I've done. So that was hot shiitake. So I felt like I was on this swing, piece of shiitake, hot shiitake, piece of shiitake, hot shiitake. And that was extremely exhausting.
Yeah,
Exhausting.
that we can wear, and a lot of times you start playing a role, and when you play the role so well, you hide all your feelings and you stuff all your real feelings deep inside until one day it spews out. It's like a Coke bottle, and you just stuff it and you shake it up and you shake it up and you shake it up, and then one day the bottle top pops off and it just spews out everywhere, and it's just not a good thing. And that's why it's necessary for growth, so that we can learn to open the top and just pour out that stress, because that's how you end up with hypertension, and you end up with strokes, and you end up with all these negative health effects, and it's not good for you. I say this as a board certified OBGYN. I still maintain my board certification. I still lecture to the residents, because I think it's important for me to keep teaching and still lecture people, because it's not healthy for you to do these things. And you should be able to get to the point where you can communicate your feelings so that you do not negatively affect your health. And it is important to start growing to the point where you can communicate. We need to learn as individuals and people to take off our mask and share our feelings. I know we don't want to. I know it's a sign of weakness per se, but I want to tell you, we are not weak if we communicate our feelings.
Absolutely 100% truth right there. If you've just tuned in and you're wondering who's in studio today, she is my new co-host. You are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa. New series called Doctors in the House with
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And we're talking about pain and no gain, or actually the gain of pain. And I am glad that you brought up that you're still lecturing. I'm happy about that, especially because I need support, because I've been saying that there is medical research now that is very clear that the ability you have to manage your stress and not internalize it will affect your health. And you just gave a great analogy about the soda bottle and the spewing of the contents when you don't pour out or deal with your stress. I have a different analogy that is similar, which is when you crush garbage down, when you push things down and don't deal with them, like what's giving you stress, like I was doing for my own situation, it turns into liquid. When you press down liquid, it turns into gas. And so a lot of my happiness coaching clients go through midlife opportunity, I don't call it crisis, where their gas is leaking, right? They've pressed it down for so long. Now, no one else can smell their gas. They can't smell their own gas, but everybody else can. And a lot of the executives that I get to do executive coaching with, super successful, make mega dollars, have really achieved a lot. Like I was talking about, trying to get love in all the wrong places. And then midlife, that gas explodes. They scream at people. They cry without reason, can't stop crying. So that is a similar analogy to your soda pop, but it's that out of control vomiting, right?
Yes. I call it verbal vomit. You have no control and you just spew it out everywhere. And I think that when you don't have control of your emotions, they will eventually take control of you, because hurt people hurt people. And I think it's something that you definitely need to be aware of.
Absolutely. My something's clicking in the background, so I was trying to fix it. But yes, so we are talking about, if you are listening, and I see eyeballs, so go ahead and put your questions if you have any, and comments in the comments section. and I can put you on screen with that. If you have any questions for Dr. Tiffanie and I would like this to grow into a series that has people come on and ask us for advice, even though the name of the show is Take My Advice. I'm not using it. I'm sure Dr. Tiffanie uses her own advice. I do 88% of the time. But I love the way that nature also gives us the acceptance of the role of pain. And I can't remember what teacher mentioned this, but if you think about a caterpillar, right? When
Yes.
it goes into that cocoon, it is not necessarily fun. It's dark. It's very little room to move. It is, lonely, right? And no light. If you think about a chick in its egg as it grows. So I found out that it's actually pecks out, not because of any timing, right? Certain period of gestation, but it's because its own poop is choking them, is toxic. So as they're pooping in their eggshell, right, they're forced to peck out in order to live. And I love that analogy because at some point in our lives, and I hope this happens to you, that you're in so much pain, not that I want you to be in pain, but the role of pain is often to force us to peck out into a new chapter of our lives. And I just love that analogy. So that's what we're talking about today. What is it that you would like to peck out of? What is it that you would like to rise out of the ashes? A deep breath of prayer and comfort and peace to all those in Maui who continue now to rebuild, and anyone that goes through tragedy. But I can tell you without a doubt that every single point of pain is really for our divine and best good to work through it. You have to work through it. If you get stuck in the middle, it's not going to feel good and you're not going to get to the other side. But feeling those feelings, as Dr. Tiffanie was saying, is of the utmost importance. Feel it fully is my Happy 88 tool. If you don't feel it fully, you're going to get stuck.
Absolutely. And I believe that growing up, I was always taught that you're either coming out of a storm, in the midst of a storm, or about to go into a storm. And that's the way life is. So you have to learn to sing in the rain, because as a Christian, they say the rain falls on the just and the unjust. So it doesn't matter what your faith is, what your life is. We just experienced here in California a hurricane, an earthquake. We are experiencing all kinds of things that we shouldn't experience because of global warming. So life is throwing curveballs left and right at us. We need to be ready for whatever comes our way. And that is the way life is nowadays. So whatever you're going through, we need to be ready. So as far as growth goes, think about where your life is today. Where was it 5 years ago? There was no such thing as COVID-19. It did not exist. If somebody told you you would have had to have worn a mask for a year, you would have laughed in their face. You would have called them a big fat liar. You would have been like, okay, what movie have you been watching? Or how many drugs have you been taking? And you should probably lay off of them. You just would not have believed it. But people stopped working. People were fighting over toilet paper. It was like a bad sci-fi movie. But that was our reality for a while. Fast forward to now. Okay, you have grown. It was painful for some. It was good for others. Think about where you want to be in another 5 years. Think about how you want to be. Remember, you learned about vision boards. Think about what you want to do. Now will be the time to make a vision board. Think about where you want your life to go. This is the time to make projections. This is the time to think about, okay, do I want to go back to school? You can go to junior college, you can get that master's, you can get that bachelor's, you can do something online. Now is the time to improve yourself. Now is the time to go to trade school if you don't want to go to a university. In the medical field, we need people to pass instruments. Those are things that you can do in a few weeks to a few months. Everything is not a couple of years. So all you have to do is Google. Nowadays, you don't even have to go to the library to learn about different fields. So if you wanted to improve yourself, if you wanted to grow your skills, now is the time to do it. If you wanted to grow professionally, if you wanted to grow socially, if you're feeling withdrawn, if a lot of people have passed away because of COVID, or you've lost some friends, you've lost some family, you can join different social organizations. You can become acclimated. You can start going to different lodges or different things like that. Now is the time to reach out. Now is the time to experience that growth. You can go to different parks. You can do yoga in the park. This is the time. If you don't want to go to a gym, that's fine. You don't have to. There are different things that you can do. You can start thinking outside of the box. If you wanted to do exercise, I would always talk to my patients. If you don't like the gym, start doing exercise at home. Exercise during the commercials of your favorite TV show. Slip your feet under the sofa. Do some sit-ups during that time. Walk around the kitchen table. Do laps around the kitchen table. Start with 10 minutes of exercise a day. Then increase it to 15. Try to work up to 30 minutes 3 times a week. You don't have to go and put in hours a week. You just have to start. You just have to start moving. Your body depends on you. Your heart depends on you. If you want to live, if you want to bring down your blood pressure, if you want to improve your diabetes, it's the little things. It's baby steps. You just have to start.
And there is the resident doctor giving you some great advice on how to move past your pain to begin this new chapter called Post-Pandemic Possibilities, which is also the name of my short film. If you haven't seen it, it is exactly supporting what Dr. Tiffanie is telling you or advising you and encouraging you to do. This is a precious thing. It's called life. It's a present moment. That's why it's called the present. It's a gift. And you have the choice of spending another 5 years being mad or sad or depressed around what's happened in the thing called the pandemic. And you can blame or shame or wish that you were hashtag BC19, the time before COVID, as I like to call it. Or you can choose to feel the anger, feel the pain, and then pop out the other side. As one of my teachers, my big brother, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, will say, the chances that we are actually alive in this thing called life are as rare as a turtle swimming from the bottom of the ocean to the surface and popping into a shell. So this thing called life. We are, as a spiritual person, very fortunate to even have this opportunity as a spiritual being to live a human existence. And I think that if you can grab a hold of that BS, that if I can get you to drink that Kool-Aid, that life is an opportunity. There's, I don't know, if people say, I want to come back as a dog. As much as I love dogs, I am grateful that I get to experience all facets of taste, of music to listen to, of art so I can see it, of creating show platforms for 590 consecutive weeks, but who's counting? To have carried babies in my body. There's so many ways in which life is so amazing. And with that, I am much better equipped to move through pain.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that when you move through pain, it is also important to move through emotional pain and forgiveness. And when you come to growth, I think it's important to let go of people who have hurt you. And part of that growth is forgiveness. And when you hold on to bitterness, it only hurts you, because that person who hurt you is living their life and doing great and not thinking about you. And you are sitting there stewing, angry, and saying, I'll show them, while they are living fancy free. But what you need to do is forgive them in your heart so you will be fine. Even if you don't see them, or if you do see them, just keep it pushing, smile, and kill them with kindness. Because holding to that anger is only going to make your blood pressure go higher, and again, give you hypertension and a stroke. So it is in your best interest to just forgive them and keep it pushing.
And if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who's in studio and what we're talking about, you are listening to and watching Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It, Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on KCAA, NBC News Radio, the station that leaves no listener behind. FM 106.5, AM 1050, home to the Asian Oprah. And this is our launch show of Doctors in the House. Sorry, go ahead. You do it.
Dr. Tate, straight out of Compton.
And we're talking about growth through pain. And it's basically our first launch public service announcement to get you to start moving past the pain that you may be marinating in right now. So you were talking about a vision board, looking at things that you could be doing. I love the suggestions that you did. I want to practice that right now because we're both single, which is kind of fun, because I want us to specifically use a tool that I talked about, I believe on Monday, called Wouldn't It Be Nice? So this is this is from Abraham Hicks, Law of Attraction. I think it's one of the practice tools in Ask and It Is Given book. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go back and forth, and please do join in. Frank, you're welcome to join in as well. We're going to focus it on our love life just for fun. Wouldn't it be nice if I could meet a man who, and then you answer that, and then you turn around and say, wouldn't it be nice if I could meet a man who, and then ask that back of me, and I'll fill it in for me and you fill it in for you, and we'll see how this goes just for fun. Ready?
Okay.
Wouldn't it be nice if Dr. Tiffanie met a man who, fill in the blank.
Loves to cuddle.
That's so funny because I just got this new pillow. I have to show you. This is the advantage of having a show in your living room. Look. You see it?
Oh, I love it.
I had to show you that. Okay, now you say it back to me.
You hear me? Great minds think alike.
What am I? All right, your turn. You're going to prompt me the same way.
Okay. Wouldn't it be nice if Dr. Marissa could meet a man who
makes my toes curl?
Ooh, I like.
All right. Wouldn't it be nice if Dr. Tiffanie met a man who
loves me unconditionally?
Okay. I'll do one more and then I'm going to speak to that. Wouldn't it, okay, your turn.
Oh, would it be nice if Dr. Marissa loves a man who
brought me flowers?
Oh.
All right. So you get the idea. You can do this with your best friend or whoever as a way of dreaming, which is what Dr. Tiffanie was saying, setting intentions, looking forward to something. One of the things that keeps us in our pain is we keep talking about our pain. We keep talking about what's going on now. We keep talking about that dickwad, formerly known as your husband, right? And that keeps that vibration, that negative, angry vibration alive, which then keeps bringing, the universe will keep bringing what you focus on grows bigger. So if you're going to focus on dickwads, I don't know. I don't think that's a bad word on the show, but if you keep focusing on negative things, toolkit about a guy, you are going to see more of that.
Yeah, I think
and that's the law of attraction.
You can't think negative and live a positive life.
Exactly. Okay, my sound engineer caught it, just in case that was a bad word. Thank you, Frank. Toolkit is a good one. So, all right. Loving unconditionally. I just wanted to say something about that, because I hear this from women all the time. And I used to say it myself. And then I realized that someone's helicoptering in to agree with me. Then I realized that it's really not fair to ask a guy to love you unconditionally if you can't love them unconditionally. Because most of the time I will hear women, not you, because I haven't worked with you, but there is a tendency for women, more so than men, in my office, when they come in, they're, he doesn't do this anymore. He does this, and it drives me crazy. And I ask the question, do you love them? Or, 80% of the time, yes, I do. And then they'll spend the next, 20 minutes listing all the things that they don't like about them. So if you're going to say, I want someone to love me unconditionally, then the caveat is you also have to love them unconditionally. I think you could. I can't. I know my limitations. I will have a tendency to focus on the things that I don't like. I'm working on it. But if you're a woman that says that and cannot turn around and love them unconditionally, then I would shift that to I will love them 88% of the time. You get my point, yes?
Yes, I can love them.
Absolutely. All right. So that is a great example. And we just modeled that and encourage you to do that on not just your love life. Dr. Tiffanie outlined there's finances. So maybe one less latte saves you a little bit of money if you're complaining about money issues. I actually am going to invite you to a financial literacy workshop that's on September 16th. It is Tiffanie, I would like you to come and meet my business coach, my financial coach, Sir John Shin. He holds these once a month at his Calabasas estate. It's free. And the link is on my bio and Linktree. And it's a chance for you to get wise. You know that sex education is taught in over 50% of schools, but financial literacy is only taught in 7% of schools. And that's why I think, I don't know about you. I didn't know about how to incorporate in a place that's better than I did and not lose so much money. So all of these, things that I wasn't taught in school, I'm learning from John Shin. So he's the guy that was the executive producer of the Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So anyway, so he did that movie. So inviting all of you to join me, and maybe I can talk Dr. Tiffanie into coming with me to Calabasas September 16th. So finances, romance, you were talking about health and weight, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I told you, I have dropped 35 pounds in the last year because I wanted to get back. I had 2 hips replaced, and that's what happened. Injury is a very common way to unintentionally gain the weight, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say my bathing suit would look at me and say, I think it's time to go do some laps. And my sweatpants would say, you're okay, just stay in bed. Finance, romance, don't dance with the donut. What were the spiritual? So Tiffanie, you said you were a Christian. I identify as a spiritual person. So that, and what was the 5th one you were saying? Jobs. Yeah.
Professional.
2, profession, using Google. You're right. We're dating ourselves, even though we're both ageless, that we did have to go encyclopedias, right? For information. We're so lucky these days. You can experiment and look for things that you don't need a college degree for, or you do need a college degree for. So it's limitless. The opportunities are limitless.
Absolutely. So whatever you want to do, go do it. I consider myself to be a Renaissance woman, and don't let people put you in a box, and don't limit yourself, and don't put yourself in a box.
So what's next for you? Because you went from, Navy, right? You were in the Navy. Was it Navy? Yeah. Navy. So you're a veteran, author. When I first had you on the show years ago, you had written a book on poetry. And then now the book that I gave you, Dr. Marissa's Beneficial Presence on the Planet Award, if you're a parent, you should be getting our book called No Touching, because it helps kids, right? Author. And then you came in the top finalists of that cooking competition.
The Carla Hall cooking competition.
Yeah. All right. And OBGyn, lecturer, professor. What's next?
I actually have another book about to come out called Little Engine Mia Sings to teach.
Say that one more time.
Little Engine Mia Sings to teach children about bullying. And I will be at the Taste of Soul in a booth selling books and signing autographs of the book.
You're not cooking in that booth?
No. I'll have both of my books. I have my Floetry book and my Bad Touching book. So
beautiful. When is that?
That's going to be, I believe, October. Is it October 21st? It's a Saturday.
One more time. I had an airplane fly by. Go ahead.
Let's see.
I lost you.
Yeah, I'm looking at my calendar to tell you.
Okay.
October 21st.
October 21st, Taste of Soul. Where is that, in Compton?
No, it's in Los Angeles.
It's in LA. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where you can meet Dr. Tiffanie. I would like to offer up.
Oh, wait. And I wrote a play.
And what?
I wrote a play that the church is going to be performing.
Wow. Playwright. We're adding play. I think we're going to have a competition here, Dr. Tiffanie, who's adding more things. I added filmmaker. So my new film just came out. I'm glad we're not competing on the kind of creativity. I love me a good competition. It's not whether you win or lose, it's whether I win or lose. but wonderful. What is the play called?
It's called The Souls of Women, and it's a Christian musical / kind of comedy.
Nice. That's wonderful. And what are you doing Thursday night?
This Thursday night, I have choir rehearsal.
Oh, bummer. I was gonna say meet me at the Troubadour, because my co-host Friday, Alon Carter, I don't know if you knew, she's the daughter of the founder of the Temptations.
Oh.
My girl.
Oh, okay. Tell me more.
Okay. And Dr. Tiffanie also sings. We could probably.
Yes.
So, what's your favorite Temptation song?
Oh, well, I love My Girl.
Okay.
And I love all the Temptation songs. Well, tell me more. What's going on Thursday night?
Okay. Well, I was trying to get us to sing a little duet piece.
Okay.
Just my imagination. You do the next line.
Running away with me.
It was just my imagination. Running
away with me.
Yeah. We're going to have to have a segment in this show where we do something.
Yeah.
But he is going to be coming to support his grandson, Trace Austin, who is my honorary nephew, calls me Auntie Marissa. And he's going to be performing at the Troubadour, where Elton John got his start. Billie Eilish has been going there and performing and hanging out. So he will be there on Thursday night at the Troubadour. The tickets are only $15. And the person who won the tickets that I gave away on my Asian Oprah giveaway is sick. So they cannot go. So I have a free pair of tickets to go this Thursday night to the Troubadour, to the first person that goes to drmarissa.life and puts in Trace Austin or Temptations, whatever you would like to put in there. And you will get that pair of tickets. And I would love, it's too bad you have choir, but it is definitely going to be a wonderful night. He has a beautiful woman from France, I believe, opening for him. The Troubadour is in West Hollywood. I'm going to bring that up because I want to give him some love. The Troubadour. And I'm also going to ask or give a little love right now. On September the 9th, one of the foundations that I support that takes homeless youth off of the streets. It's called Doors of Change. They're having their annual fundraiser, and I support that. I'll be going down. They've kindly invited me as a VIP guest. So that is also something you can do. Instead of shaking your head about the homeless, you can support Doors of Change. It is a benefit concert that's going to be amazing. That's September the 9th. So all kinds of things that we are inviting you to. This is the Troubadour that maybe you can beg off for that one night, because I will definitely introduce you to Otis Williams, who's amazing. I got to interview him backstage. There's Trace Austin. Marie Monty is the woman who will be opening. Alex Porter will be there as well. Isn't that cool?
That is very cool.
Yes. So, final word to you, Dr. Tiffanie.
My final word is I actually wanted to read a quick poem, if that's okay.
Absolutely. I may have to cut you off. We have less than a minute and a half.
The other side is often in view, especially when there's a huge mountain before you. Just take it day by day and one step at a time. When you get past it, this life will be sublime.
And I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm sorry. I thought we had more time. I'm looking at the wrong clock. Thank you for joining Dr. Tiffanie and I. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Join us again next Wednesday for Doctors in the House. Now go and have the best day ever.
See you next week.
Bye. And we are...
Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balance.